You can draw this in Procreate. Let's create this cute bubble tea together. During this tutorial, I will be guiding you through every single step. So once you have reached the end of this video, you will have your own lovely bubble tea illustration and you can share it on social media. If you are sharing it on Instagram, then be sure to tag me in the image, not just in the description, because that way I will be able to find it and perhaps we'll see your work in the next video. For this tutorial, we are using a canvas of 2300 pixels by 3000 pixels and the color profile is set to sRGB. I have also created a color palette for you, which is linked in the description and it's totally free, of course. Let's get started by grabbing our pencil or finger and then go to the color palette and grab the first color in the first row and then drag it onto your canvas. Next, we'll go and grab the soft brush, which you can find under airbrushing, and we are going to pick this second color in the first row. I have the opacity of the brush set to 75% and the size is set to 25%. And now let's just go over the center of our canvas, making these circular motions using very little pressure. And just make like this oval shape. Then lift your pen and do it again in the center, making it more opaque. And then again, until you have a nice, soft oval on your background. And to make it even softer, we can go to the magic wand over here, then tap Gaussian blur, and you can slide your pen or your finger to the right on the screen to make this gradient even softer. Let's go for 40% and then just tap the magic wand again to get out of there. For the next step, we are going to create a new layer. You need to go to the layer menu and then tap the plus for a new layer. And now we are going to go to the wrench over here, then to canvas, and then we are going to turn on the drawing guide. Then tap edit drawing guide and here at the bottom select symmetry. Then tap done. And now when you go to the layer menu, you'll see that layer 2 has assisted under its name. That means that symmetry is turned on here. So whatever we draw on the left side will also show up on the right side. For our brush, we are going to grab the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy. And for the color, we are going to grab this first color in the third row. And the opacity of this brush is set to 100% and the size is set to 20%. And we are going to draw the cup. Let's start about here, make a line going down and then make it rounded and let it meet in the center. Then let's close it at the top like this and then drag in the color to fill your shape. Next, we'll duplicate this layer by going to the layer menu, sliding the layer to the left and then tapping duplicate. Then we'll grab a different color. Let's grab this one over here. It's the sixth color in the second row and drag it onto the shape. Now let's go to the move and transform tool. That's the little arrow up here. Make sure that you set it to uniform and under snapping, make sure that snapping is turned on. Now drag one of these handles in the corners and make this layer a little bit smaller and then move it to the center. You can see that it's in the center when you see that orange vertical line. Now tap the arrow again to get out of here. And then we are going to add a little something to this layer. But first, make sure that you go to the layer menu and turn off drawing assist because we don't want to use symmetry anymore. So tap the layer, then tap drawing assist and then go and use the monoline brush again. And we are going to add some wobbles to the top, just some random shapes, and then attach it to the right side and then fill that shape. Once you have done that, you can go to the layer menu and drag this layer underneath the other layer. Now tap this top layer and then click mask. In case you are a frequent watcher, then probably you already know how a mask works. But if you don't, let me just give a short explanation. Right now you see this white layer mask attached to this layer 2. And since it's white, everything will show up of this layer. But once you start painting on this layer mask with black, you'll start masking things. Let me just demonstrate. We will go to the treasure chest brush pack, the Art with Flow brush pack. If you don't already have it, be sure to go to freefromflow.com because then you can get all of these brushes for free, including my ebook about color theory. Now for the brush, let's grab the dark noise brush and set it to black. You can see it's already set to black. If it's not set to black, then double tap here at the bottom to select pure black. The opacity of the brush is set to 100% and the size is set to 55%. And before we start painting, let's turn off Drawing Assist. You'll need to tap layer 2, then turn off Drawing Assist, and then make sure that you select the layer mask again. And now with our brush, let's go over the shape and make it more transparent. Just make sure that you leave that white on the sides. So it'll be more transparent near the center and more opaque as you move to the sides. Make it a bit more transparent here at the top. Making circular motions. And now let's switch to white. Let's go to the color, then double tap here to select white. And using white, we can paint parts back in. Let's set the size of the brush to 20%. And now let's make a line from the top to the bottom, adding some shine to this cup. Next, we are going to create the lid for our cup. Let's do that on a new layer. So tap the plus for a new layer. And then for the brush, we are going to grab the monoline brush again. Let's just go to the top and select recent over here. And you can see your recently used brushes. And the monoline brush is part of that, of course. And for the color, let's go back to the first color in the third row. And now we are going to draw a circle, which is really easy in Procreate. Just draw a circle and hold your pen in place until it snaps to a quick shape. And then tap one finger on the screen to make it snap to a perfectly round circle. And you want it to be slightly bigger than our cup. Then let's go to the Move tool by tapping the arrow. And then let's make sure that it's centered and covering our cup. Then let's drag in the color to fill our shape. And I will want to cut off a part of this circle, but we do want to see the cup through it. So let's lower the opacity of this layer by tapping the layer menu, then tap the N, and then lower the opacity to, let's say, 40%. Now tap and hold the eraser so it switches to the monoline brush. And now let's rotate our canvas. For me, it's easier to make a curved line like this instead of this. This just feels more natural. So right now with the eraser, we are going to make a curved line from here to there, and then hold your pen in place to make it snap to a quick shape. It works with the eraser as well. And then let go and tap Edit Shape. Now you can use these handles to adjust that curve a little bit. And make sure that you get a nice line. Once you're happy with that, you can just select the eraser again and erase the rest of it. Now, if you don't feel like erasing this by hand, you can also go to the selection tool, the S shape ribbon, set it to freehand, make sure that color fill is turned off, then select this area, close the selection, and swipe with 3 fingers to erase it. Now I want to add a little part to the lid. Let's go to the layer, tap it, and turn on Drawing Assist here so that symmetry is turned on here. Then grab the brush again, the monoline brush, and let's add a little part and make a curved line to the center. You can see that my initial arch, the part that I have erased, wasn't really symmetrical, but it doesn't matter because now we have made this arch. Let's fill that shape by dragging in the color and perhaps adding little parts where there are gaps. And now we have a nice lid. Now let's go ahead and turn off the opacity again by going to the layer menu, tapping the N and turning it up, turn the slider up, and let's turn off Drawing Assist. Tap the layer, turn off Drawing Assist, And let's add a layer mask here as well, just like we did with the cup. Tap the layer, tap mask, and then let's use the dark noise brush again. And we'll set it to black. So go to the color wheel and double tap here at the bottom. Let's set the brush to 55% again. And now let's go over the center area with these rounded motions, but leave the edges intact. Those need to be more opaque. Then let's set the brush to 4% in size. And let's rotate our canvas. And now let's make a more transparent edge along this curve. And then let's switch to white. Just go to the color wheel and then double tap here. And then we'll make a more opaque edge right on top. Now let's work on the hole at the top. Let's go and grab the selection tool, set it to ellipse, and then make an oval selection here at the top. About this size. Then tap invert here at the bottom. Then grab your brush and we'll set the brush size to 20%. And while you have your color set to white, go over that layer mask and add some more opaqueness here to that edge. And let's also make a little curved line over here. Then tap and hold the S-shaped ribbon. And here at the bottom, select Save and Load. We'll want to save this selection. So tap the plus to save our selection. And we'll get back to that later. Now tap the S-shaped ribbon again to get out of here. And now let's create a straw. We'll do that on a new layer again. So tap the plus in the layer menu. For the brush, go and grab the monoline brush again. And for the color, let's grab this one over here, the 5th color in the 3rd row. Now let's also use symmetry for this layer actually. Let's go to the layer menu, tap the layer and turn on drawing assist. Then start a line about here, drag it down, hold your pen in place and tap one finger on the screen to make sure that it's a perfectly vertical line. Then make a rounded shape here at the top and close the shape here at the bottom as well. Then drag in the color. And here we have our basic straw. Now that we have this, we can actually turn off that vertical symmetry line. Let's go to the wrench, then to canvas, and then turn off the drawing guide. Now let's zoom in a little bit, go to the layer menu, tap the plus, and then tap this new layer and select clipping mask. Now for the color, grab this color over here, the 3rd color in the 3rd row. And now draw an oval. You can't really see it since this layer is clipped to the straw layer, but we have an oval here. And make sure that it's touching these sides. Then drag in a color to fill it. Now we can zoom out again. And now let's select these layers for the straws by dragging to the right. Then go to the Move and Transform tool. And let's rotate it a little bit so that it's more diagonal. And just make sure that it's barely touching that edge of the hole. So you get something like this. Then just tap the little arrow again. Now I see we have little room for our straw and our cup. We'll fix that later. First, let's drag our straw underneath this layer with the top of the lid. And we'll want to remove this part of that top. And to do that, we are going to use that saved selection that we have created. So let's go and select the layer mask over here. Then go to the selection tool again, the S-shaped ribbon, and then go to Save and Load. then use this selection and make sure that you invert it first. Now let's zoom in a little bit, and for our brush, let's use the monoline brush. We'll have to set it to black, so double tap here at the bottom, and then go over this area to mask that. Make sure that you go just along the edge of the straw and block this area. So now it will appear as if that straw is going through that hole. Now turn off the selection. And now that we have done this, we can move our cup and straw. We can actually select all of these layers except for layer 1. Then go to the Move and Transform tool and lower everything a little bit. And let's rotate it by using this green handle to give it a more playful look. Something like this. And then tap the arrow again. Next, I want to add some more color to the liquid that's inside. Let's tap layer 2, then tap the plus for a new layer and set this layer to clipping mask. Tap it, use clipping mask, and for the brush, use the monoline brush. For the color, we'll use this 5th color in the 2nd row. And we are going to make a wavy line from left to right, loop around and close it, and then drag in the color. Then we'll create another layer by tapping the plus, select a layer, use clipping mask, and then go to the previous color, the 4th color in the 2nd row, and make another wavy line. Loop around, close the shape, and drag in the color. Then another layer, tap the plus, tap the layer, use clipping mask, and go to the other color, the 3rd color in the 2nd row. Then another wavy line, loop around, close it, and drag in the color. Now we are going to add a little something to the top of the liquid here. Let's go to layer 2. Let's make sure that we won't be able to paint outside of the shape by sliding to the right with 2 fingers, or you can tap the layer and select alpha lock. Now we are going to use the selection tool again. So go to the selection tool, set it to freehand, and then make a wavy line like this. Loop around, close the selection, and then first let's save the selection. Go to Save and Load and tap the plus. And then let's go to the layer menu and erase a part of that straw first. Tap layer 7 and use clear. Then we'll go back to layer 2 again. Now we can turn the selection back on by going to the selection tool, go to Save and Load, and use this selection over here. Then for the brush, we are going to use the dark noise brush. And for the color, let's go and grab this light color over here, the 7th color in the 2nd row. And the size of the brush is set to 20%. Let's go over the top of this area and add a little bit of light here to these wavy shapes. Then tap and hold the selection tool and use invert. Then grab the brush again and select a darker color. Let's grab this one over here, the 5th color in the 2nd row. And then we'll go along this area, adding some color variation. Then let's make a new selection. So tap the S shape ribbon, then again, and let's make a wavy line over here. Close the shape, then tap the brush and grab that light color again, 7th color in the 2nd row, and add some touches of light here to these tops of the waves. Then we'll invert the selection again by tapping and holding the S shape ribbon, then select invert, then grab a dark color again, this one over here, 5th color, 2nd row, and make sure you select a brush and then go over this area. And finally, let's do it one more time. Tap the S shape ribbon, then again, and let's make another wavy line here in the front. Loop around, close the selection, grab the brush, and grab the light color, 7th color in the 2nd row, and go over the tops here. Making these rounded motions. And then tap the S shape ribbon again. Now this is looking nice. Let's merge all of these liquid layers actually by pinching them together. And while we have alpha lock still turned on, you can see that by looking at that checkerboard pattern. We will still be using the dark noise brush, but selecting a darker color. We'll use this 2nd color in the 2nd row. And let's go along the side here, the right side, to add a little bit of shadow to our liquid. Next, let's add the bubbles. We are going to use a different brush for that. We'll go to the Art with Flow Treasure Chest brush pack again and use the round chalk brush. And for the color, we'll be using this 1st color in the 2nd row. And let's make a new layer for it, just to be sure. So tap the plus for a new layer on top of our liquid. The opacity of the brush is at 100% and the size, let's set that to 40%. And now let's add some bubbles. Just make some random round shapes. Some bigger, some smaller. Just fill the area like this. And now let's move on to the straw. Let's first go to this layer 8 that is clipped to the straw layer. Turn on alpha lock on this layer. And for the brush, let's go to the recent brushes again and use the dark noise brush. And for the color, we'll grab this 4th color in the 3rd row. And now let's go over this left side of the straw, adding a little shadow there. Then let's move to layer 7. Let's turn on alpha lock there as well. And let's also tap it again and turn off drawing assist. We don't want to use symmetry anymore. And for the brush, we'll use the monoline brush. And for the color, we'll use this last color in the 3rd row. Now let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Let's go for 60%. And now let's make some curved lines on our straw and leave some gaps in between. Perhaps a little one over here. And now let's add some texture, some shading here as well. We'll use the dark noise brush for that again. And for the color, we'll grab this purple over here, that 2nd color in the 2nd row. The size is still at 20%. And let's go along this edge, adding a shadow there. And a little bit over here where it's touching the liquid. And then let's switch to a light color. Let's grab this color over here, the 5th color in the 3rd row. And let's go along this edge. And then let's make the brush smaller. Let's go for 4%. Grab an even lighter color. We'll grab this one over here, 2nd color in the 3rd row. And make a line going up. You can actually use the quick shape tool to make a nice straight line, or you can just do it by hand. Add a little shine there. Let's also add some extra shine to our cup. Let's make a new layer on top of all the others by tapping the plus. And for the brush, we'll go back to the treasure chest brush pack and use the fine liner brush. And for the color, we'll be using the 2nd color in the 3rd row. The opacity of this brush is at 100%, and let's set the size to 40%. First, let's make a line over here. 1, 2, a little short one and a longer one. And let's also make a curved line over here. 1 and 2. And perhaps we can rotate our canvas and add a little highlight over here on the edge of the lid. Now what we need is a shadow to make our cup look like it's floating. Let's make a new layer on top of our background layer, layer 1, then tap the plus. And for the brush, let's grab the dark noise brush again. You can just go to recent in your brush library, and for the color we will grab this third color in the first row. For the size, let's set it to 20%, and now let's make an oval shape here just underneath our cup. Make these rounded motions, slowly building it up. Now finally, we can make our bubble tea look really cute by adding a face to it. Now if you like drawing cute things, then you might like the recent tutorial I have launched at Patreon, where we create a cute mermaid cat. In that tutorial, I also guide you through every single step. And at Patreon, you can't just watch this tutorial, but over 100 more. Now let's go to this layer over here, layer 9. Let's tap the plus for a new layer, and over here let's create our little face. For the brush, let's use the round chalk brush, and for the color we'll use this first color in the second row. Let's make one circle over here for one eye and another one over here. Then let's make the brush smaller. Let's go for 5%. And draw a little mouth right in between. Then we can turn on alpha lock on this layer. Tap the layer, turn on alpha lock, and for the color, we'll grab this second color in the third row. And you can add a little light edge on the underside of the eye, on the underside of the mouth, and on this eye, just along the edge, and then add a little highlight in the eye like this. And there you have your cute bubble tea. I hope you have enjoyed following this tutorial. If you did, then remember that supporting this channel is super easy. All you have to do is hit that thumbs up button. If you feel like it, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps. I would like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to share your results, either on social media or in the special Procreate community, which you can join through freefromflow.com or through the weekly newsletter. I will talk to you there, and I will see you next time for the next tutorial.